Hey everybody, welcome back to Out of the Ordinary with Jay, and I am with Luhan, and we're going to have a very interesting interview, to say the least. I think it's going to be very interesting to a lot of people. Luhan, let's just start with a little bit of a background, but how old are you?
I'm 77.
77.
Yeah, over the hill.
What is considered over the hill exactly?
I don't know.
Like, what's the hill? Is it 50? Is it 40? Is it 70?
I think they've been raising it lately.
Okay.
Inflation.
Okay, but you're going to claim it. You're saying you're over.
I'm fine.
Okay. Well, so for those of you that are watching this and not just listening to it on a podcast, you're going to notice that Luhan here is wearing a dress and has a purse that he's got here. And so I don't like labels, but is there a label that's close? Like my mind just goes, because I'm very naive in this, but my mind just goes right to like cross-dresser.
Well,
Like, what is?
actually, that's as close as you can get.
Okay.
I could go into a little background.
Sure.
I used to cross-dress. I joined a support group in Phoenix. But at that time, we were all trying to pass as women. We would do the wigs, the makeup. We go through every limit. We go to malls, we go out in public, but we're passing as women. Well, after years, I kind of just quit doing that because it's a lot of trouble. And then lately I says, well, hold it. I don't want to try to pass as a woman. I just like their clothes. So what if I just wear the clothes? Now, there's a very small section of cross-dressers who do what I'm doing.
Okay.
I like these bracelets. I like my nails. I like this, and I got all this neat guy stuff in my purse, more than most guys get to carry with them.
Yes, I remember seeing something like that in Friends. Joey had the, he had the big, I forget what it was like.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah.
So I find it's working for me great. I like where I am right now.
Okay, so is so would you say the typical definition of cross-dressing then is you going all the way to masquerade as a woman, but you just like their clothes and accessories, but still portray as a man?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I go by he.
Okay. Okay. So, not to sound super naive on the subject, but so like, is that the plus in LGBTQ plus? Are you the plus?
I would say I'm the T. It's under the transgender
It is.
category. Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody that violates the societal gender norms is considered transgender, and there's a lot of different things in there.
Okay. Well, so this is going to be a very educational a video for me, for sure. So, and this is technically, Luhan, this is your coming out party, is it not?
Well, yeah, I do. I've been on the internet sometimes doing engineering stuff, but I decided, hey, life's short. This is what I like doing. I'm also, my background's engineering, and I've been told I'm rather gregarious for an engineer.
Yes.
Or even a normal person, I'm just pretty gregarious. So I think this just fits my persona to a T. I like doing this.
I gotcha. Okay, so just real quick, I want to back up just for a moment because you mentioned engineering.
Yeah.
So like, let's get a little bit of your background. Like, where are you from? Short bio kind of resume.
Born, raised north side of Chicago, grew up in Skokie, or as we called it, Little Israel. My family wasn't Jewish, but every other person in Skokie is.
Okay.
So, and went to the University of Illinois, where I was one of the first people in my family to flunk out of college. Got drafted, went in the Army, went to Korea, came back, went back to Illinois, to Urbana, because I didn't know where else to go. Fell into the counterculture. Had a great time in there for several years. Traveled around, moved to California. Let's see, where were you now? We're in Arizona now. Oh, for about 5 years, I lived full-time in a motorhome. I decided I liked the Southwest, and I wound up here.
Wow. So you mentioned engineering. What type of engineering? And, real quick, by the way, so Luhan is a fellow YouTuber, and so I'll put a link down below to your channel.
Sure thing.
And so that people can find you if they want to follow up on your engineering stuff.
Sure thing.
I looked at it and I was like, wow, I'm not very smart. This is very confusing. So
my stuff's kind of technical. Most engineers can't follow it.
Yeah, I mean, you had some sort of homemade light, I forgot, a contraption to find something that you made.
Yeah, if you walk by, it flashes a light, makes you think your picture's been taken. So this is my deterrence.
Yeah, like a homemade security deterrent, right?
Yeah, nobody's going to mess with your car if they think their picture's already been taken.
Yeah, so there's some clever stuff like that on this channel, so we'll make sure we put it on there. Okay, so And is that what your channel is about? Is it about?
Yeah, it's just some engineering projects I'm doing. Actually, I've probably done 100 more than I put on there, but it's more work to make the video than it is to do the engineering.
That I believe. It looked to me from like, I only looked at a few of them, but it looked kind of like a home brew style, you know, homemade stuff you can engineer with just, you know, cheap or common parts type of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Is that kind of it?
Sure. In fact, I like to make small, cheap things with the parts. The one that does the flashes, I think, got less than $10 worth of parts in it.
Wow. So the biggest question that kind of comes to my mind, and I'll get into it even in more detail later, but like, why do you do this?
Now, that's a great question.
Okay.
And here's the answer.
Okay.
Because I like to.
Because you like to.
Yeah. Now,
that's as good as answer as any.
That sounds a bit unsatisfying, but the real question is this. In a culture that tells men should do this and women should do this, and you don't cross that line, and here's what you get to do if you're on this side. Right. I'm breaking the rules.
Oh,
and so that's the real question.
So you're a rule breaker.
I'm breaking the rules, which is why, here's the thing, it all has to do with culture. Cultures set these rules, and we internalize those. That's where we get our sense of reality. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up, I thought something was wrong if you were gay, because that's what the culture embedded in me.
Right.
When our culture changed, then all of a sudden the reality changed. So me and my transgender friends and my gay and lesbian friends are all dealing with the same thing. The conflict isn't with our culture. The conflict's with ourselves. We've internalized cultural values from when we were very young. And now we find, hold it, I'm gay, or I'm trans, or I'm cross-dresser. And that's the battle. And when you win that battle, it's amazing how little problem the rest of the world is most of the time.
So are you saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth at all, but I'm trying to clarify this. Are you saying that because culture has progressed in a way, or far enough in a way that people should be less concerned about other people and more concerned about their own selves? Is that?
No, what I'm saying is you think you're fighting an external battle, but you're fighting an internal battle. You're not okay with what you're doing.
Oh, I see.
When I say, you can't wear dresses, Luhan, that's bad. And I finally just decided, screw it. This is what I like to do. So I actually made a choice one day when it's kind of like my second coming out, when I came out as the casual cross-dressed guy thing 5 years ago. Luhan, do you like wearing dresses? Well, yeah, I do. Well, are other people trying to tell you you can't do that? Well, yes, they are. Well, what are you going to do? Screw it, I'm going out. So I just walked out, dressed.
Wow.
Not been a problem.
So the other question I was thinking of is like, so how long have you been or felt this way?
I'm trying to remember how far back it goes. Like all the other trans people of various ilks, it goes back to like 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, so young.
Yeah, I can remember.
And what was that like? What was that like at like 5 years old? Like, why do you say 5 years old? What made you think that? It
was strange because when I'd see very strong, attractive women on TV, it did something to me. And I didn't know, I had no context for it. I just knew there's something there. There's something almost like a personal power thing that I felt compelled, instead of just feeling attracted because it was a very
fit or attractive or strong woman, right?
It was a feeling of almost identity,
like kinship.
Her. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And so what does so a long time, let's say at 5, that'd be 77, that's 72 years of feeling that way. That's a long time. Okay. So what does cross-dressing mean to you personally, or does it mean like?
Well, now, in a way, I'm not transgender. Okay. Why? Because I'm just a male. I was a male before. I'm a male now. I like to do guy stuff. That's why I carry a laser, instead of makeup or something.
Right.
And, but there's this thing about the culture controlling us that I really object to. So my affinity with the transgender community and the gay lesbian community and all kinds of other people into different things is, don't let the culture limit your life. In other words, you're a free person in a supposedly free country, and if you do it, you can go out and be yourself.
Right. So in addition to just something you like, it's sort of like, I don't want to say making a statement, but kind of.
It is, if I go out and somebody sees me in the store, and by the way, about 10% of guys that are heterosexual are cross-dressers, but it's very secretive. They
Oh,
don't
wow.
want it. They can't. Sometimes their wife knows. Sometimes they don't know. It's very hidden. It's very paranoid. But when they see me in public, I get these vibes, looks, with people going out of their way to be nice to me. That didn't happen before when I was just dressed male and going in standard personality.
Interesting.
So, and I'm thinking some kid who's struggling with this that's 5 or 10 years old sees me and think, well, hold it. Maybe I am okay.
Right.
I feel I'm having an effect on the world just going to Walmart.
Gotcha. No, I like that. So I have to ask, do you have a particular style or look you prefer? Fashionista? Fashionista?
It's hard to say because when I was doing the total cross-dressing where I had an alternate identity, Samantha Stone, when I was doing Samantha, it was the eye makeup. I like black hair, wig. Oh, cross-dressers tend to, when they're doing the full-on cross-dressing as women, they tend to dress like women they find attractive.
Oh, they sort of emulate.
Yeah, they do.
So if someone, whatever, I don't know, Heidi Klum, somebody thought she was attractive,
Yeah.
they would tend to emulate that in their own look.
Yeah, and there's another weird psychological twist to this.
Okay.
Apparently, when you're a secret person inside and you show something else on the outside,
Yeah.
you have trouble maturing. Maturing doesn't come with time, it comes with interacting with the outside world. But the real you hides inside. Now, when these cross-dressers do come out, they're teenagers, and they dress like teenagers. You can't believe the outfits my friends and me were wearing in that support group as women.
Yeah. Well, the thing that you just brought up that, just as again, from my point of view, is that I can definitely see the point about being authentic and living an authentic life. And, I think that's a struggle for everybody, for sure.
Yes.
But certainly it would be amplified in a case like yours. And I can see how that would be kind of a tough deal. You know what I mean? Living authentically or rather living inauthentically.
Now, here's the thing. When me and my friends used to go out passing as women, going to the mall, the Ren Fair one day, everything, in a way...
Well, the Ren Fair, you get away with it all day long.
Oh, yes. We were going from one sexual stereotype into the other sexual stereotype with no stops in between.
Yes, right, sure.
So now I'm more of an affront to our cultural norms than I was when I was passing as Samantha Stone.
I can see that, sure.
So, on the other hand, I don't have to worry somebody will read me or suspect that I'm really a guy. If they don't see I'm really a guy, they should see an optometrist.
Yeah, I was going to say they would have a vision issue.
Yeah.
So what age were you? I know you said you felt that way around 5 or so, 4 or 5. But what age did you actually start dressing up?
Well, I didn't have much opportunity growing up at home.
You were in the military for one.
Yeah, and I had no opportunity in the military. I had no opportunity in college. Till I got out in the world myself, I had no opportunity at all. And then it was still really paranoid.
So like were you in your 30s or 40s, or how old were you before you started dressing in women's clothes?
It would be like mid-20s.
Okay.
Mid-20s.
So let's call it at mid-20s. Before your mid-20s, what did it feel like when you were being inauthentic and sort of dressing like everyone else? What did that feel like? Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's not like I'm uncomfortable being a guy. It's just not my total preference. But no, I was just a regular guy. But here's what I mean by paranoid. I lived in Santa Barbara and I had my own house I was renting.
Okay.
So I had the privacy. So in the house, I never went out the door. In the house, I'd wear female clothing. But when I wasn't wearing them, with all the blinds and shades pulled, they'd be locked in a cupboard. Because I was afraid of a burglar coming in and finding my female clothes.
Oh, wow.
Pretty soon, he's talking to the other burglars. All the burglars are making fun of me.
And all of a sudden, you're out in a way you didn't plan to be.
I mean, that's how paranoid it is.
Wow.
I buy dresses online and made sure I was there when the delivery was there, so it wouldn't go to the neighbor's house. Then they accidentally. It's a very, very paranoid thing.
Right, and so I'm going to skip to another question I have because of what you just said there. But Well, no, I'll stick to it, but we're going to get back to that in a minute.
Okay.
But, so, like, this isn't, at least from my vantage point, and again, I'm coming from a pretty naive point of view, but this doesn't seem very common to me. Like if I was to go through, the last, whatever, 5, 10 years of, guys I saw dressing in women's clothing, you'd be the one. You know what I mean? For me. Maybe I need to get out more. I don't know. But my question is like, why do you think some people are different or nonconformists?
Well, like I say, that's actually the backward question.
Okay.
The real question, why does our culture just make these rules for people? It says, hold it, you're in group M for male, and you must watch football, drink beer, and be emotionally unavailable. I mean, it's like a set of rules they lay on each one.
Okay.
And what does it mean? Why would people want to break the rules? Well, because that's what's normal. It's normal for a percentage of people to be gay, transgender, lesbian. That's what's normal. Our culture is not normal. Our culture laid an artificial set of rules on top of that, which violates what effectively is normal behavior.
I got you. So, right. So the question's kind of again, that's, but I think a lot of people would ask the question that way.
Oh, they would.
Do you know what I mean? And
Because
just to give you the social construct.
That's what they're coming from, that same culture I grew up in.
I understand.
Now, if you're a person who's put off by this at all, I empathize with you, because that's what gay and trans people deal with too. They had to solve their conflict with it. So the fact that you might have a conflict isn't surprising.
Right, and that's literally my next question. I was going to say, like, what do you say to people that are uncomfortable or find it off-putting? Like just as an example, and I don't mean it in just in a general term, although that's true. Where, someone could see somebody dressed a certain way or look a certain way, and that could be many things. That could be someone with too many tattoos or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But like if you came into my shop, say I owned this coffee place that we're doing our interview at, and I wanted to address you, and my inclination would be sir, but then I might see your outfit, and then my inclination might be like ma'am, and then just as a layperson, I'm kind of like, like, what do you think about that?
Well, 2 cases. Back when I was Samantha, fully cross-dressed that way.
Yeah.
Then it was, I was going for female names, pronouns, all that. Now I'm split in the middle. But what I do is I engage people wherever I am in conversation, even if it's the clerk in the store or somebody.
Right.
And what that lets them know is they're wondering, how do they relate to this person? When I just start talking normally,
right,
like with the checkout lady at Walmart, and say, oh, have you tried this cheese? They relate to me normally.
Right.
And the only time I get ma'amed is like when my hair's really grown out, I'm wearing a dress, and they see me from the rear because I've got a big butt. And they figure dress and big butt must be a woman. So if I get ma'amed, it doesn't bother me,
Well, that's what I was going to ask, is if people got the salutation wrong, like, it's tough. I feel both sides, because like if I was you, I can be like, oh, that's not how I prefer to be addressed. On the other hand, if I was somebody else, I'd be like, well, you're not making it easy on me.
I know,
you know
and I
mean?
realize that. Like, somebody asked to take the shopping cart from the Walmart lot that I was just finished using. And this guy came up and said, excuse me, ma'am, can I use this cart? I said, sure, fine. And I just turned away.
Yeah.
I didn't say it's wrong or anything.
Yeah, right. You weren't...
I realize the position I'm putting some other people in. I almost feel like an ad hoc ambassador for the trans community. Because like I say, if you cross-dress and pass as a male or a female opposite gender, nobody even knows it.
Right.
And if you think you don't know any cross-dressers, if you're one of 10 men in the room and none of them are cross-dressers, it must be you, okay? Because 1 out of 10 guys doesn't.
Is that really the percentage? That seems like a lot.
Well, now, it's hard to get...
I remember little kids, you'd put your mom's stuff on. Are you counting the...
Well, it's a whole spectrum, but you can't knock on somebody's door and says, hi, I'm taking a survey. How many cross-dressers live here?
Well, sure.
But there is one statistic. Well, there's 2 statistics, and you can put them together. Number 1, 50% of cross-dressers, when they're in male mode, wear female underwear.
Well, we would never know that. I mean,
you would not know that, except in traffic accidents. 1 out of
Oh
20,
my gosh, that's crazy.
20 men in traffic accidents are found wearing women's underwear. Well, if half of them do it and 1 out of 20 in the accident, that leaves 1 out of 10 altogether.
Okay, so for you cross-dressers out there that don't want to be caught, make sure you're wearing the right underwear when you drive.
Your mother says wear clean underwear? Well,
where, I don't know. I don't even know where to go with this one, but that was funny. Okay, that was good. No, that's good. I didn't know that. I was wondering though, because like that just seems like a lot to me. Because like if you were to ask me, like if I know 1 in 10, I'm like I could grab 10 of my friends. I know I'm not the one, and I couldn't pick out one of my other ones. But
here's a weird here's a real statistic. In Santa Barbara, I was a member of SBSFA, the Santa Barbara Science Fiction Alliance, a small science fiction club.
Yeah.
We had about 20 active members, about half guys, half women.
Okay.
Years later, getting to know a couple of the women there that I liked, I came out to them.
Okay.
And they'd go shopping with me where they'd pretend we were buying for them. And it's
how fun.
Oh,
I'm sure they loved that.
But when I first came out to one of them, they two looked at each other. And I didn't find out till weeks later why that look was there. I was the 4th guy they found out about in that group.
Okay. See, my initial thought would have been that they would have been thinking like, okay, we got to give this guy mad props for being so clever with this whole pickup shtick. He's going to us to go shopping with him. The guy's a genius. No, that was not it.
Oh, it's like being on a Drew Carey show. I'm with this girlfriend of mine, and we're shopping. Yeah. And this lady comes over and says, oh, it's so nice your boyfriend goes shopping with you. Wow. And she'll go and try something on, come out, and I may give approval. But it's, and all of them say, well, I'm just doing you a favor, you know? And every single time, get back to my place, they have to see me try it on.
That is something. There you go. Okay. And you are too happy to oblige.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So what do you wish that more people, that like they don't understand about you, or why it's important to you to do this? Or why should we know? Why is it important for people to know?
Well, I think we're all under the gun, especially men today. When women could wear pants, first of all, it was the end of Western civilization.
That's true. There's a lot of
used to that.
It's a lot of pantsuits going on.
Now, women get the variation in how they dress, and then it's so restrictive. I actually refer to it as guys have to dress like Farmer John goes to Walmart. Okay.
Yeah, they sell a lot of Duluth pants.
It's like they wear only certain types of shirts, only certain types of jeans, and it's a real narrow box. And I've talked to guys who said, I wish I could do what you're doing. They're actually feeling the pinch. Oh. So, we talked about it repressive to women, but it's also repressive to men.
I never thought about that. Originally, I just thought clothing for men was made simple because we're simple-minded. It's real basic. But then I was thinking about it as you mentioned this. I get the idea of this spectrum. Yeah. It's like kind of this clicking for me because I have a couple friends of mine that they love to get dressed up like nice, fancy clothes, nice shoes, nice whatever. Like I find that just no thanks, it's too much work, right? Yeah. So I could see how there's like this line that kind of goes in a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get that.
See, I feel I'm fighting a battle not just for trans and gay people or whatever, but for just about everybody. I mean, if you choose, you like to wear this, you like the gender you were born, okay, fine.
Are you some secret ambassador for like an Italian designer or something? Is
that
where this is going?
Oh, my
Opening
God.
up new markets?
There was some movie I was watching, and all the women, it's all these fabrics, all these styles, all these materials, all this variety. And the men, because it was a fancy routine, were all dressed like penguins. I mean, they all were exactly the same thing.
That's it.
Jeez.
Yeah, not standing out. So, and I know a lot of this stuff is just stuff you already have heard and stuff before, but like, hopefully this is not too loud. We got a fire engine coming by, but like, from my standpoint, then again, this is my standpoint. Okay. But I think a lot of other people share this sort of viewpoint. It just seems so much easier just to conform to societal norms. And in many respects it is. So this must be like really important to you, or even existential, right? Or like, is it rewarding? It must be rewarding in some way.
Well, it's rewarding in a lot of ways now, because once you get over it, see, we had this expression in the transgender support groups here, called getting over it. And what that meant is every time you went to a meeting, you got over it a little more, because we got our own little reality bubble going in there. And you're no longer weird when you're in that meeting. Going shopping, are you there, go shopping and buy stuff for yourself. Every time I did that, It took me about 2 years.
Oh, wow.
And they said that was the fastest they'd ever seen anybody do it.
Wow.
But once you're over it, you're not vulnerable anymore.
Right.
Look at Dennis Rodman.
Yes, right. There's a great example, or an example.
There's an example. Dennis Rodman, does he shy about it, showing up in a wedding dress to a parade? No, he likes it.
No, so this is what so that brings me to my next thing is like, so is it tough? Has it been tough? I mean, my point is like, I just look at all these other interviews I do with other people, one of the common elements is, life's not very easy all the time.
Yeah.
And so like, this is adding like another kind of a big layer, at least from my vantage point. And so like, is it tough? Has it been tough? Like, what do you think about that?
It's a big lump to overcome, but the most interesting people I've known are people who've overcome adversity of one type or another.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Sure. That's a fair point. Sure.
There's a lot of people in one way or another. It could be race, could be ethnicity, could be religion.
Oh, it could be anything. I mean,
and could be gender.
It could be a business that fell apart and went bankrupt. It could be a relationship that went south that there's a million reasons that people have to fight back.
Now, if you know them while they're still struggling, they're not fun. Because they're in the middle of the
they're in the middle of hell.
But once they're through it, they're great people.
So is there anything that's in particular that's been sort of the hardest thing over all these years for you to like, maybe not necessarily even from a societal, from people, not being, but for your own, just to get over
one of the hardest points I had when I moved to town here, I was living out in Quartzsite in a motorhome, but I was driving to
What
town.
could be harder than that?
Driving to Quartzsite once a month for a support group for cross-dressers. And I remember the first time I walked into this place, it was downtown next to the Gay and Lesbian Center.
Okay.
And I'm in the parking lot. I'm total guy mode because I've never been out, in the dress. Yeah. And I go in, I finally walk in the door, and this lady looks at me and says, "Oh, your group's next door." She somehow knew I was a cross-dresser. So I go in next door, and I walk in, and these people, mostly dressed female, come and start talking to me. There's no hazing in cross-dressers because you've already proven yourself. Once you walk through that door, you have made a statement that I'm one of you. So I remember me and two other guys were sitting in the back row in male clothing. And all of a sudden, when the meeting starts up, and I'd already talked to several people, but the meeting starts up, I just started to freak out. Literally,
I could see
my legs wanted to run out the door. And I started to stand up. And I remember thinking, this is the damn freak show. I'm not like this. And for one of the few times in my mind, almost a voice came into my head. I swear it's happened. It said, "Sit down and shut up. You're exactly like these people." So I sat down.
Wow.
And by the next couple of meetings, I started coming dressed and getting part of the group.
That would have been a big moment.
It's a very you wouldn't know how diverse these people are. I like it. It's like an airline disaster movie. You see all these people getting on the airplane, and there's the Cub Scout and the businessman and the worried mother-in-law, whatever. Yeah. And then the plane's in trouble, and they all have to deal with each other and that.
Right.
That's what a cross-dress group is like. We're from all the politics, all the nationalities, everything, and we have this one thing in common, and that's what we deal with. So we're a flying disaster is what we are.
Right. Well, so, it just seems like that would, like, just anything, again, that's not routine. Again, I always go back to life's already hard enough. Yeah. And then you've had this extra layer, which in my view is a pretty big layer. Yeah. That it just, anyway, so it's something that you've overcome or not over, or been more authentic to yourself.
Especially the transgenders, and that when I actually live as the other gender, their push, like for a man to be female, is stronger than the average woman because they have to go completely across that bridge from one to the other. The ones I know are more female than most genetic females I know. And the same for the guys. I had dinner one night, one of our times out at a restaurant, 2 female to male transgenders sitting across from me, 2 guys. And when you talk to them, you're talking to a guy. And they seem like some of the nicest guys I ever met because they're just happy being guys. And it's amazing because, see, they don't have to go through surgery or anything. What they do, they might have their breasts removed, but once they go on hormones, they grow facial hair and their voice deepens. They don't have any trouble passing as men.
Oh, I
They
see.
can pass within 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay. So what's, when you go to these groups that you've been a member of, both in courtside and here and wherever, like what would, give me an age range of who's in this group? I mean, you got to be at the higher end at 77, I would imagine, right?
18 and up, because we can't have members under 18.
Okay. So of the, how many would be, like I'm trying to figure out the demographics of your group in there. Like, let's say there's 100 people. How many of them are, below 40 and how many of them are over 40?
I would say the same as the national demographic.
Okay, so no.
We're just cut out of everybody else. It's like some disease hits you.
Well,
it doesn't matter who
I
you
wasn't.
are.
Oh, right. I wasn't even meaning it like that. I was more thinking of like, at what age people, come out, type of thing. Not necessarily. So
Now there is a group. There is kind of a hump at around the age of 40. Probably been married, maybe have been divorced, and finally decide to accept themselves as who they are. So there is kind of a bunch in there.
I see. So this is my big question, the first one I wrote, which was, why come out now, like after all these years at age 77? Like, in other words, some people, I'm taking it to my grave. Well,
Yeah,
77 is an interesting age to like
come out. A friend of mine asked me that, and why do it? Well,
is it sort of the ambassador thing?
Well, no, it's why keep it a secret? I mean, it's not like there's anything gained by taking it to your grave.
True.
So, no, I don't know. For me, it started to add up. Look, we have transgender legislators and people of TV personalities. When I came out, like this is 5 years ago, walking out the door in a skirt and a t-shirt and a purse, a lot had already been done by other people.
I see.
And I actually, even that first day out, I went to Walmart and Fry's, and I think I went to Harbor Freight. I wasn't totally unknown. I had a category to step into.
Do you feel sort of like an obligation to be out there to like represent sort of a minority group?
Well,
or no?
Here's the thing. I'm just doing it because I like to do it. Okay. Bottom line, hey, who's going to tell me? If my attitude is, if somebody, maybe I should answer this. There's a question that came up before. What about if people have trouble with it? Well, there's 2 cases. One of them has trouble with it and says, look, this really makes me feel weird. And I try to be sympathetic with them. And I says, yeah, but you can only yell surprise once. You see me a few more times, it ain't so much for you. That's one case. Yeah. The other case is they're saying, I'm wrong. This is wrong. You shouldn't do that. No, I'm not too nice to those people,
Right. Well, usually when people are being attacked, they don't usually do well. So, I mean, that's kind of normal human nature.
I'm rather confrontational. I've had to learn to be nice with people. So, my attitude toward those people is, what's the matter, you?
Okay. So, what do you expect? Do friends and family already know, or what do you think the reaction is going to be to this video for those that don't know?
Oh, well, all my family knows, because the first time I came out as Samantha, that's like 20 years ago now. Okay. I emailed everybody on my email list and simply said, I'm tired of keeping track of who knows and who doesn't, so now you all know.
So your boss and 5 coworkers were probably like, what is this email?
And then here it is. I sent to everybody on the list, anybody I knew in any which way or form, and I just said, if you got any questions, I'm free to answer. But what I did not do was ask for acceptance, and I did not ask for their understanding.
You just said, you just wanted it to be known.
It's just
like, hey,
you got questions?
Yeah.
I had an aunt blew up at me.
Oh, yeah.
An email in all capital letters. Oh, boy. This is that witchcraft thing that you did a couple of years ago. And then the next day she says, I don't know why I was so upset.
Oh, wow.
It's closed. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm not sure what stirs people in anything generally. So I don't know about your aunt there. Was there any other pushback or?
Oh, I guess I got 4 brothers, and they all took it to various degrees.
Were you nerve-wracked when you were sending it or drafting it before you sent it out? Or
No, I just nah.
it's about time?
I'd already been in support group for a year,
Oh,
and that does a lot for you. You know how our culture has a reality? We'll see the support group has a different reality. And just like our cultural reality embeds in you, so does going to these groups. Every time I went to a meeting, it just kept getting easier and easier and easier. Because in there was nothing wrong with us.
Righteous. So at some point, what I'm hearing, if I want to get this right, is that it became less necessary to be brave. It just was something you would just do.
Oh, well,
is that
no,
kind of, or no?
I don't. I mean, I still got some shorts and something, and I might do it if I'm doing some work around the yard or something.
Yeah.
But, oh no, I'm way more comfortable in this. There's all the fabrics, all the colors. It's so convenient. Like this. See, this is a one-piece outfit. I don't have any underwear requirements, to put it bluntly. So I'm out the door.
I don't know if we're going to edit that out.
Okay.
I definitely want to edit it out, but it's going to be good videos. I just have to leave that in.
It's this way during COVID.
Wow.
Since I have what amounts to a bunch of onesies to wear, all I had to do was soak them in a wash stand and hang them to dry in the shower. I didn't have to go to the laundromat. So when we weren't going out at all, trying to be,
Right.
And so there's all kinds of handy damn things about it.
So now it's about convenience, is it?
It's a lot about convenience. I just love it.
I see. So I was going to ask you, though, we dabbled on this earlier, and then we're down to the last couple of questions, but, do you get, or have you been treated differently out, living your everyday life, like at restaurants, shopping, the bank, a job?
That was the big fear I had.
Yeah.
Because
that would be a big fear, I would think.
Came out this time. Look, I'm an EST graduate. You old enough to remember EST?
I don't know what that is, no.
It was a self-improvement seminar which was psychologically brutal but helped a lot of people.
Okay.
They'd go for this weekend and I'll do all kinds of weird things. Anyway, I was a graduate of that. And now I forget where I'm going. What was that question?
Oh, no, just you get treated differently out and about living your everyday life, restaurant, shopping, bank, job.
I've done a lot to get out of my shyness and everything and get comfortable with people. So I was comfortable in stores and any place. I could walk in any place and be pretty discomfort.
I can see that.
Am I going to give this all up if I do this? Is this going to put a wedge between me and other people? Well, it hasn't.
Right. So the fact that you really didn't lose much and did gain something made it easier.
Also, I mentioned lesbians.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of men do have certain fantasies about lesbians. It's a twofer or whatever.
I've never heard of this. What are you talking about?
But
I mean, go on.
Well, a group of us went to a place downtown called Ain't Nobody's Business, which was a lesbian bar.
Okay.
I won't even say we were welcome. They ate us up.
Oh, really?
What lesbians like nothing more than seeing a guy in a dress. So
meaning they were India.
Yes, there's kind of a love connection between cross-dressers and lesbians.
Okay.
Let's think of the possibilities. Okay.
Okay, so there's a dating tip out there.
Yes, really.
I think that's where this is going. Okay, Luhan, last question for you. If there's one message you could share with everyone, kind of in closing here, what do you got? Anything?
Yeah, there's a quote: "Be yourself. Everyone else is taken."
Be yourself. Everyone else is taken.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way to end this. Thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciate the interview.
Bye-bye.